Elliott.
What's up, Sarah? So great to be here with you for this bonus episode.
Yeah, totally. I just saw this meeting pop on my calendar last minute today, and I was like, what the heck? Oh, it's Elliott. Yeah, sure, I'll do that meeting. Anyway, welcome back to Tech It to the Limit Season 3, listeners, where you get your prescription for digital health with a dose of wit and a much-needed refill on reality. I'm Sarah Harper. I'm still recovering from my very real case of health FOMO.
And I'm Elliott Wilson, the guy who did go to health and survived 4 days full of buzzwords and badge scanners and $9 lattes, and I have yet to tell the tale.
Yeah, and you don't even look a day older. It's miraculous.
Oh, I look 5,000.
You braved the health tech Thunderdome, Elliott. So I didn't have to. Thank you for your sacrifice. And listeners, fair warning between
freshly made swag hat design.
Oh, hell yeah. That looks like something my daughter would make, but it's by that she has very good taste. So listeners, whether you were at health or you weren't, whether you have FOMO or not, we're going to bring the best of the best straight to your eardrums and your retinas today, if you're watching us on YouTube. So we're going to talk about the highlights, right, Elliott?
Yeah, we had a number of really great interviews there. We thought the best way to bring this content to you would be to mix up our normal show kind of format and just bring you the voices of the experts that I had the great joy of talking with down at Health. So we'll give you a little intro to each one, and then we're going to play it in its entirety, and you can hear what these amazing people are talking about.
Then we're going to press play. I just want to clarify, I think the best way to bring content to people would have been a claymation stop motion video. But this is the next best way to bring the content to you, listeners. So regardless of our delivery for this content, we're going to roll right in to the first interview that you had in the Tech It to the Limit booth at Health. Elliott, Dr. Lynne Nowak of Surescripts. Tell me about her.
She was all about using automation and interoperability to make prescribing less painful for everyone, from doctors to pharmacists and patients. And she said something that I really liked about, burnout being more than just an emotional thing. It's a structural thing that is, baked into the system. And to fix it, you've got to start with smoother data flow. And Surescripts have been doing that forever.
Yeah, and we know if that data is the new oil, but at least sounds like Dr. Nowak is putting a premium unleaded into her vehicle. So tell us, what are some of the biggest takeaways from your chat with her? We're going to do like a reverse wise nugs here, where we eat the nugs before the interview, right? So what can listeners expect as they tune into this interview with Lynne?
Yeah, so here's a few of my just quick top 5 things, right? So automating prior authorization and real-time benefit check goes from multi-day delays into minutes, and what a transformational thing that can be.
Can I get a hallelujah?
Hallelujah. Second, clinician burnout is a system design problem. It's not like I mentioned, right? It's systemic. It's not an individual's problem. It's a structural thing. Third, if interoperability is done right, it can restore trust between all of those different stakeholders, the prescribers, the pharmacists, the patients, et cetera. Four, Surescripts, pay attention to what they're doing. They're becoming a Kefka-designated QHIN to finally connect those last data silos. And number 5, listen out for her kind of view around how cart abandonment, you mention this all the time, right? Unfilled prescriptions is like a hidden tax in healthcare. So it was really a great conversation with her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds like I didn't even comprehend that initially, but that makes a lot of sense. Yes, exactly. Love it. All right, listeners, here's Elliott's full conversation with Dr. Nowak. Cue the clean data dream sequence.
Hey, Tech It to the Limit listeners. This episode is brought to you by SwagSense, the first AI-powered conference navigation tool that answers the only question anyone truly cares about at a health tech conference. Okay, but who's got the best swag? SwagSense uses a proprietary blend of computer vision, Bluetooth triangulation, and pure, uncut FOMO to guide you straight to the booths with hoodies, Stanley-level water bottles, and socks thick enough to qualify as medical-grade compression. No more wandering the exhibit hall like a lost intern accidentally making eye contact with the booth handing out pens and a QR code to their blog. SwagSense identifies premium swag zones, predicts restock windows, and warns you whenever a vendor is, tragically, only offering educational materials. And because SwagSense is a proud sponsor of Tech to the Limit, our listeners get early access to the SwagSense Golden Hour Map. It's a real-time heat map highlighting booths most likely to run out of the good stuff first. Just go to swagsense.ai/limit and use the promo code SPICYNuggets for 20% off your next conference map upgrade. SwagSense. Because in digital health, your tote bag is your legacy. Hey, Tech It to the Limit listeners. I'm back with another interview here at the Health Conference. With me today is Dr. Lynne Nowak, the Chief Data and Analytics Officer at Surescripts, where she is turning the nation's prescription network into a living, learning organism of insight. A physician by training and a data evangelist by calling, Dr. Nowak bridges the worlds of clinical care and health information exchange, making sense of the tangled data threads that connect prescribers and pharmacists and patients. And under her leadership, Surescripts is not only helping to reduce burnout and prescription abandonment through smarter prior authorization and price transparency, it's also helping shape the future of interoperability with a newly designated QHIN under TEPCA. I mean, that's very exciting. So in other words, she's helping healthcare finally talk to itself. So welcome to Tech It to the Limit, Dr. Nowak. May I call you Lynn?
Please do.
Awesome. Well, before I kind of jump in, I got some questions. Before I could jump into that, can you tell us about your role and what you're doing at Surescripts?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Exciting to be here. So I am our Chief Data and Analytics Officer. I am a physician by background, so I have sort of that mix of the clinical background as well as I've really enjoyed the last decade or more leaning into the data side of healthcare, technology side of healthcare, which is what brought me to Surescripts to lead all things data and analytics for the companies.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's jump in. So your latest survey data highlights how prior auth delays can lead to prescription abandonment, right? Card abandonment, if you will, for prescriptions, as well as physician burnout, trying to chase down all of that. So what did the numbers reveal to you that was most surprising? And how do you start designing systems that serve both clinicians and patients in this space?
Yeah, so I'll say, first of all, sadly, they weren't surprising numbers to me because I lived in that world as a practicing physician, lived in the frustration of waiting for, my orders to be approved by the payers, seeing my patients who are frustrated that couldn't get their medications. As a daughter, I've, lived with that with my parents, waiting for prior auth approval. So, and also as a formerly practicing physician, I very much appreciate the administrative burden and how that, plays into physician burnout. I am a victim of physician burnout. So frankly, none of it really surprised me. I think they're very compelling though, right? It really reinforces why this is a problem we're solving and why Surescripts is really investing to really remove a lot of the friction in the prior auth process.
So from your perspective, what's a tangible way that we can redesign something, remove some of that friction?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you think about the process today, a physician orders the medication typically through their electronic health record. So it goes digitally across, often the Surescripts pipes to the pharmacy. If that drug has a prior authorization on it, it's going to hit a reject. And then that's going to trigger all kinds of processes, interactions between the doctor, the PBM, the pharmacy, trying to get the information the PBM needs to approve or deny that drug. And there's just a tremendous amount of administrative burdens between the doctor's office, the PBM, the pharmacy, with all those, information manually going back and forth. What Surescripts has done is since we are a part of that initial prescribing transaction, we're able to intervene about as far upstream as you can get in that process, recognize that that drug requires a prior authorization, get the criteria from the PBM, get the data from the physician, all automatically with no manual work required, send that to the PBM.
As it should be.
As it should be. send that package of data over to the PBM, we worked with them to help them streamline and automate their processes or get a response back generally in less than 30 seconds.
Wow.
So assuming that if that drug is approved, that automated approval then goes with the prescription to the pharmacy. So when the patient gets to the pharmacy, they're good to go.
Right.
No delays, no friction, no waiting for the back and forth,
Yeah.
filling out forms and waiting for the PBM.
That's amazing, cutting that down to 30 seconds. So when you're thinking about data and you're thinking about your measures of success,
Yeah.
right? What kind of decreases is that showing? So you ended up at 30 seconds, but where did you start? Like, what was your average fire off kind of metric that you've now reduced to 30 seconds?
Yeah, great question. So, it obviously is going to depend on the complexity of the criteria. So the time can vary, but I would say typically it could take several hours. Not uncommon for prior authorization to take days and sometimes weeks.
And depending on the kind of data that you need to be able to build back and
Exactly.
the data is often very siloed depending on what's going on with that patient, whether that be a PCP or a specialist, et cetera. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Thinking about going from days to seconds in terms of getting that clearance. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And you think also about the impact it has on the provider's office.
Sure.
Where they, the current state, the prior state has been, you've got somebody in the office who's, maybe full-time job it is to fill out these forms, pull the records, answer the questions, find all the right information. It's taking that time away from probably a nurse or a medical assistant who could be spending time with patients. And now the physician's office has to do nothing.
Yeah.
It is touchless. That's what we call it, touchless prior authorization, because the doctor's office doesn't have to touch it. It just happens.
And in Surescripts, it's like, you kind of hit on it, right? You're so far upstream in that process, right? It makes total sense for you all to be the conduit, since you're already the conduit for the prescription itself.
Correct.
For being that prior auth Sherpa.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
That's great. So, Surescripts, you recently joined the CMS Interoperability Pledge, and you're now designated QHIN under TEFCA. So, tell us what that process is like, and from your vantage point, is that shifting the playing field for data exchange, and what does that true interoperability look like in total practice?
Yeah, so we're very excited about it. We've been, really on the forefront of interoperability for many, many years. Surescripts really has been an interoperability network for the better part of 20 years. So this, I would say, I don't know that I would call it a shift. I would say it's an expansion. And, it's really about making more data available for, the ecosystem to help providers, patients, pharmacists, payers make better decisions by having better access to the right data at the right time. And whether it's the Qualified Health Information Network, the CMS Interoperability Initiative, we want to be a part of this. We want to be leaders in this area. We want to bring that clinical information more easily to anybody who needs it to deliver good care to patients.
Yeah, and who are your partners when you're working in that space?
Yeah, so it's really across our whole ecosystem. So we're working with providers, we're working with the EHRs directly, we're working with pharmacies, with the PBMs as payers. So it's really all the ecosystem that Surescripts has historically been working with. It's just an expansion of those relationships.
Sure. Talk to me about price transparency and where that fits into all of this, right? For, if I'm a patient, I'm going in and my doc says you need this drug, right? And I'm on a high deductible plan, or, where really the onus is on me to cover all of this. How does price transparency fit into this? When is that revealed to the patient? How do we get that revealed to the patient as early as possible? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I'd say, again, Surescripts is very proud to have been in the forefront of price transparency for many years. We, released our what we call the real-time prescription benefit, which is going directly to the providers. We've had that in place for, I think, about a decade now. Really, as a physician, just when you think about that visibility to, one more data point of helping you make a decision of what's the best choice for this patient, it's not just about the clinical appropriateness, although that obviously needs to be the priority, but making sure patients can afford their medication is a huge contributor to their adherence and ultimately their outcomes. So historically, Surescripts has really been directing that price transparency to the provider to empower that provider-patient discussion. Very exciting now that as Surescripts is leaning more into a direct consumer facing relationship and how do we get that information in front of the patients. A lot of our work there is in partnership with providers to help bring those price transparency, options to the patient, therapeutic alternatives, what might be some other options for the patients if they can't afford, the one that was originally prescribed.
Yeah. So you're a physician turned data executive. And so you sit at this intersection of like empathy and analytics. And so how do you keep the human context in the loop when you're working with, massive data sets that can very quickly and easily dehumanize care? How do you keep yourself thinking about the humans in the process?
Yeah, I love that question. And I think it's, you know, the way we do it is to me the data and the technology in many ways is a means to a better end. And it really helps inform us where are the biggest opportunities to help an experience, to help an outcome, to help a price, an affordability question. And that's all with real humans using these tools, using this information to make their lives better. Whether it's the doctors, maybe getting out of their office a little bit earlier, which was certainly a problem for me when I was in practice, going home late at night, missing time with my family and my kids. So if we can make things more efficient for them, if we can make, their lives a little bit easier, that's a very, it's a great mission. And at the end of the day, all of that helps them deliver better care to the patients, which is where the impact truly comes.
Sure.
And, patients being able to afford their medications, patient not being stressed out and frustrated that they can't get a medication because they're waiting for that prior auth to get cleared. Patients getting better care because their patients have medication history or their physicians have medication history. So they've got a more full view of that patient's, total picture. It really, the patient and the providers are really at the core of everything we do. And then, obviously the pharmacies are a big part of that. The pharmacists making their lives easier, letting them get back to being clinicians, why they went to school and why they went into that profession. So the data is a tool, the technology is a tool, but at the end of the day, it really is about making the experience and the outcomes better for the stakeholders.
Experience and outcome, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. All right, last question for you. So there's plenty of data out there. There's not a lot of trust.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the bigger challenge right now? Is it making sure that that data is interoperable or making people believe what the data actually says? What's harder?
Yeah, well, I'd say two things can be true. Now I'm gonna hedge a little bit because they're both important, and I know that's hard, and they're both hard, and they're both critical to the success, right? So Surescripts takes a tremendous amount of pride in the trustworthiness of our network, how we handle the data of our clients, how we handle the data of our patients, and security, privacy, quality, all of those things are incredibly important. So as exciting as it is when I have my data product team and my analytics team, leaning into all these new insights and analytics that, we're creating, I have equal excitement and energy going into our data governance and our data infrastructure and our data architecture and all those kind of unsexy things that are
What are you talking about? Governance is super sexy.
so sexy. So, but it's all that sort of behind the scenes foundational infrastructure that must be in place to garner that trust that we have earned over the last 20 plus years and really make sure the insights we are delivering, the transactions we're delivering are solid and they're high quality and they're trustworthy and people know that we're only using their data in ways that we've been entrusted to use that data. And that's really critical. It's just foundational to everything we do.
Wonderful. What's next? What's on the horizon for you when you're thinking about where Surescripts is going? Like we've figured this out. We can interoperate. We can share data. We've reduced prior auth down to 30 seconds in so many cases. Like what's next?
Yeah. So I think it's building on, the success and the impact that we've had. So when we think we are just scratching the surface on the analytics and insights that we're, looking to provide, we've done a lot of descriptive analytics, things around sort of what's happening. Now we're getting more into why is it happening? And then, beyond that, looking at how can we change what's going to happen, right? So when one of the things that really kind of pulled me into the data world was, literally the ability to tell the future, predictive modeling, anticipating what's going to happen and getting in front of a bad decision or getting in front of a bad outcome because we're able to anticipate those things, intervene or help others intervene earlier, and really using the data to not just identify what happened, but make a better outcome going forward. So that's where I'm really excited about where data science and AI and all this new capabilities that we're able to leverage is really going to help us going forward.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us on Tech It to the Limit. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your conference.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Be well.
Well, that was fascinating.
Oh, isn't it great?
Yeah. Oh my God. I felt like I was right there in the booth with you and Dr. Nowak. Just the miracle of science. Okay. Technology is amazeballs. But let's shift gears, right? I want to talk about John Beadle from Aegis Ventures. John, if you're listening, you missed a great opportunity for a Halloween costume this year. Here, he is the kind of venture whisperer in health tech, right? Tell us more about John Beadle if our listeners haven't listened to season 2, Startup
Yeah.
Machine yet.
So John was great to talk to. I love his energy and the focus that he brings. So Aegis partners with big health systems to build new AI-driven companies from scratch. It's like a startup incubator, but it actually hatches things.
Hell yeah. Basically, what you're saying is fewer pitch decks, more progress, more deliverables.
Reality.
Outcomes. Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, their portfolio companies are hitting Series A twice as fast as average. And he predicts the next big AI boom might be patient facing. And so there's a lot of really cool parts of the conversation that I can't wait to get to.
Sweet. Well,
Fair
what's
enough.
your Beetle
Anyway,
breakdown?
So my Beetle breakdown. I like that. Here's my Beetle
Mhm.
breakdown. First off, he kind of mentions right off the bat, right? These ambient clinician tools like auto scribes, listening in and taking notes, right? That stuff is table stakes now, right?
Mhm.
People expect it. It's going to be built into Epic's platform, with their announcement. It's table stakes. It's part of
Mhm.
the world we live in. So AI needs to, especially on the ambient side, needs to move to the patient side. I thought that was pretty cool parts of the conversation. Second, their consortium model about building with health systems, we talked about it before. I
Yeah.
love this model. The model
John.
we talked about, unlocking the innovation from within. Fabulous parts of the
Mhm.
conversation. Third, about they're taking, because of who they're working with, they're taking academic AI research and turning it into truly scalable commercial ventures, which is pretty darn cool. I mentioned it
Genius.
before, the compression of their Series A timeline blows my
Mm.
mind. And last, he's got this kind of a mantra here, like less innovation theater, more innovation delivery. So you can
Mm.
see it in his demeanor. He's
Mhm.
not a flashy, showy guy. He's like, hey, look,
Right.
we're doing it. This is what we're doing. And let's
Yeah.
make it happen.
But I really do appreciate that approach. Sounds like the accelerator doesn't need an extra dose of caffeine, at least this one time. Perfect setup, Elliott. Thank you. Let's roll into the conversation with John Beadle,
Unroll the
shall
clip.
we?
Hey, Tech It to the Limit listeners, I'm back with another guest here at the health conference. Back with John Beadle, who's actually a returning podcast guest here, better known in innovation circles as Johnny B. We have the co-founder and managing partner of Aegis Ventures, where he's helping health systems tackle some of medicine's toughest challenges: clinician burnout, inequality, and the unholy trinity of poor experience, high cost, and bad outcomes. Under John's leadership, Aegis has launched 5 successful AI-enabled companies tackling critical issues across the healthcare ecosystem. Collectively, these ventures have raised over $200 million in institutional funding. In 2024, John partnered with Mayo Clinic CEO Dr. John Noseworthy, also friend of the pod, to launch the Aegis Digital Consortium, a first-in-its-kind alliance of 11. It was 9 when we spoke last time. Congratulations.
Thank you. And now it's 14.
Holy cow.
We just added 3
Just
more.
racking them up. Oh,
It's
my
been
goodness.
busy.
Well, welcome back to the pod, John. Is it still all right if I call you John?
Please.
Awesome.
Great to see you, Elliott. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you so much. Well, let's jump right in. So when we last had you on the pod, it was 10 months ago. We've already just kind of mentioned a couple of the things that have been going right. What progress have you made? What milestones are you achieving? Tell us about it.
So it's been a great, very impactful period for us. We have gotten almost all of our companies now spun out of the nest. Series A funding with some great investment firms, lots of great health systems participating in those rounds. So all but one company is now past Series A. The last one, I think, will complete its Series A this fall, which is terrific.
You guys are on a tear.
So it's been fun. I mean, the blueprint and the structure, I think, has been working really well. We have been adding health system partners, as you just alluded to.
Yeah.
And so we're now up to 14.
Yeah.
So we just added USC, Hartford Healthcare, and Yale.
Wow.
And so I've been really active and at work with those folks alongside the existing partners, and then building a great pipeline for 2026.
That's amazing. And we talked about that. The consortium build, there's a built-in sales channel to that. I mean, that's the part of the brilliance in the model that you've created with Aegis. I think it's just fantastic.
Yeah, the goal, as we like to say, is you want to compress time to market, time to value, and time to capital. And so one of the nice things that we've been able to achieve is the first set of companies have gone from, seed to Series A in 18 months, which is about half the time that's the market standard, and 100% have done it successfully so far compared to a 13% industry average. So the blueprint that I think we initially set out has been working, which has been great to see.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. That's really great. Can you give us a preview of one or two of the ventures that you've launched?
Sure. So one of the ones that we just announced funding for is a company called Optane, which is a retinal imaging company. And so they just announced their round with Insight Partners. It's a great investment firm based in New York. They also had 7 health systems participating in that round.
They're doing oculomics, aren't they?
They're doing oculomics, yep.
Yeah.
So they've been scaling really quickly. 7 health systems in that round, lots of additional customers, and so scaling really fast. They now have their FDA approval, which is terrific. And so been moving through the consortium and beyond at amazing speeds. That's been a fun one.
I mean, what a transformational thing to bring diagnostics so early on in the PCP experience. It's really, really, really cool. Are they here, or is Optane here?
They're here.
Oh,
you should do the eye scan.
I will. I can't wait.
They always have the camera with them. So
I will definitely. I'm a little afraid of what they're going to find out. Maybe they're going to find out that I am in fact an elder millennial. I don't know. Well, you've switched gears here a bit. You've talked before about burnout and the trinity of experience, cost, and outcomes. What do you think is the most underrated lever for improving clinician experience right now?
So there's a couple that I think have achieved real scale and impact very quickly. First is ambient listening. I think it's almost become table stakes that you need to have an ambient listening solution in place, which is why a bridge has been doing so extraordinarily well. Open evidence is another one that I think has generated incredible excitement. I mean, you've gone from basically 0 to now 40% of all clinicians are using it to be able to generate insights at the point of care. And so those are the 2 big ones that I think have created real impact and enabling clinicians, one, to deliver better efficiency in their work, but more importantly, take that efficiency and be able to, spend more time with patients, do their highest value work, eliminate pajama time at night, et cetera. And so, I think what we've been trying to think about is what are the next examples of, technologies that are going to be able to do that in the same way that open evidence and a bridge have.
What have you come up with? So what's the next big thing?
So I think we certainly have our hypotheses. If we knew, we would have gone and launched those companies already. I think the next big opportunity that I see, though, as it relates to just AI generally, is I think over the last 3 years in the wake of ChatGPT, the biggest opportunities we've seen in terms of impact have been caregiver facing and administrator facing. But I think the next set of big impacts we're going to see are going to be patient facing AIs, where you get 24/7 Gen AI companions for patients that can significantly streamline the experience of accessing the healthcare system, answering questions, scheduling appointments, being able to automate their care journeys and try to navigate to the next best action. I think health systems have been, more risk averse in rolling those applications out because they do touch patients. But I've seen kind of increased openness to using those solutions at greater scale. And I think the pilots that have been done have gone quite well. We have one company in that space called Agentic that is seeing really terrific outcomes. And so I think we're quite bullish in this next phase about patient-facing opportunities.
So agents. We've got agents coming out the wazoo, coming for us. We have an agent here at Health that is, if you have questions about where to go or what content to see, there's a wonderfully AI-generated agent.
I didn't know that. I need to try it.
That will answer all of your questions.
Wow.
She's very lovely. She's lovely.
You'll have to give me the number to try to contact her after this, because I have a couple of questions already in front of mine.
Oh man, well she's straight. She's hanging out upstairs. So back in last October, we talked about one of the values that Aegis brings and the consortium brings is that sort of outside in, but inside out innovation, where innovation is laying dormant in these health systems. So it's been a year. What have you found to be the most successful tactic in breaking that dormancy?
It's a really great question. I think for us, we're very thesis driven at the end of the day. And so I think we try to make it known what the theses are that we are most excited about. And then from there, go to our health system partners, particularly those that have lots of internal innovation. And so, the large AMCs that have lots of investigators that are doing cutting edge research, et cetera. And when those teams know that we have particular theses in different areas, we get great introductions to teams that are working on those particular problems. And I think as we look at this next phase of Aegis and the companies we want to build, one of the areas we want to lean into even further, we saw it with Optane, we saw it with Hume, we've seen it with a couple of our companies, finding teams of extraordinary scientists and investigators that have produced cutting edge AI research that we can productize and commercialize and scale more broadly. And so I think as you look at the next set of companies we launch, that's going to be a big theme that we lean into.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with you. What should our listeners or folks here at Health, what would be your advice for them to go see, hear, or do while they're here at the conference?
So definitely go to the panels. There's some really great insights happening at those. Try to plan ahead as much as you can. Go to as many networking receptions and meet as many people as you can. I think most of the best opportunities at Health happen in the evenings after
usually over some drinks,
sessions, over some drinks, et cetera. And there's such a wide panoply of different things that you can do that I think just keeping notes for next year if it's your first time, so that you can try to make it even more efficient going forward. I feel like year one is just trying to soak up as much as you can and make it better and more efficient with each time you do it.
So learning from experience. You heard it here from the master at Aegis Ventures. Thanks so much, John. And we'll see you next time on Tech It to the Limit. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
This episode of Tech It to the Limit is brought to you by ScrubHub, the only streaming platform by nurses for nurses. Tired of everyone else's drama? Now you can stream your own. From Grey's Anatomy of errors to keeping up with the cardio units, ScrubHub delivers all the charting chaos, medication mix-ups, and cath lab cliffhangers you crave without the HIPAA violations. Binge exclusive originals like Law & Order, Prior Authorization Unit, The Wheel of Morbidity, and the award-winning documentary Code Brown, The Untold Story. New episodes drop daily because the call light never stops blinking. ScrubHub even lets you choose your mood. Comedic relief, existential dread, trauma, but make it educational. After 12 hours on the floor, you deserve to watch someone else cry in the supply closet. ScrubHub, streaming sanity one meltdown at a time. Visit scrubhub.care, where every binge ends with a handoff report you didn't have to write.
All right, that's a wrap on part 1 of our Health FOMO recap. 2 guests down, a few dozen clever acronyms to go. God, I hope not. Elliott, thank you.
TLA.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think so. Next time, listeners, when we bring the rest of the interviews, we'll be tackling things like agentic AI or multi-agentic AI with Assort Health, and the ambient future with Vertex Health, as well as what the vision of the future for AI diagnostics might be with our friends from Optane.
Sounds like Oprah's it list for this holiday season. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe AI. I know it's only a 2-letter acronym, but it could stand for something different this time, right?
Maybe actually integrated.
Oh God, wouldn't that be a blessing?
Mhm.
A blessing from the Lord. Until then, stay curious, stay kind. I mean, obviously, it's like I'm patronizing you. Stay curious. Don't forget, innovation is only as human as the people it serves.
And the coffee that fuels them.
We almost forgot. Before we go, it wouldn't be Tech It to the Limit without a health tech haiku. Elliott, would you like to take it away?
There was
Take it
nothing
away?
I would rather do. Neon meets budgets. Startups chase their data dreams. ROI on ice.
Let's hope it's not actually on ice. Jesus. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time. Right, I forgot again.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Tap it to the limit.